Corey Parson, Fantasy Executive, Wall Street, Matt Medica. All in Kid be back with us shortly. Miami Dolphins old lineman, Jamon Bushrod. About 20 minutes from now, join the program. But first, we got some business to take care of with my guy, Dr. A. Dr. A, good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Good morning to both of you.
Happy Monday, Doc.
Oh, you got scrubs on, Doc?
Doc has to do a surgery
ready.
today.
He's ready. I like it, Doc.
Doc is about to go into surgery. Doc, when you go into your surgery, are you going to be working on one Mr. DeMarcus Cousins? Is that why you're dressed up today?
Well, I hope I'm not, because he should have been operated on before today.
Okay.
So
It should have been taking place already. So it probably happened
exactly.
yesterday. I know he was with the team on Saturday, so maybe it happened yesterday. So, Doc, let's get ready to get started right there. This is a terrible injury right here because you got a young man, July 1st, looking at $175 million. He has this injury, this ruptured Achilles tendon, and, Doc, basketball players don't tend to be the same player after this game. Now, this is one of the top players in the league. He's only 26 years old. What are we looking at, Doc? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, typically, these 6'10", 6'11" guys that get, Achilles tear, it is a very, very difficult injury to come back from. He actually had Achilles tendonitis in his other Achilles tendon on the right side, and sometimes you can, you can attribute that the left side to the right side as sort of a compensation mechanism. And, some people tend to have Achilles tendons that are, somewhat weaker than others. A lot of it has to do with genetics and how they've been playing. The Achilles tendon is the one that lifts up the back of the heel. So guys that are on their toes a lot as opposed to their heels a lot, it has to do a lot with the chronic wear and tear on that tendon and how much do they work it out. It's a very difficult injury because that's the only tendon in the body that doesn't have a great blood supply to it. So even when they fix it, it takes an incredibly long time to heal. And you're right, the players in any sport, but especially in basketball, with the up and down motion and how tall these guys are, with the force that they generate, it is a very difficult injury to come back from.
Doc, hold on. Doc, when you look at a timetable for Cousins, you say July 1st is when he can cash in and get a max deal, $175 million deal. What do you think we'll know by July 1st, and when do you think he'll be be able to play basketball again?
So here's what our statistics show. He's relatively young. He's a young player. So getting this injury earlier than later is actually better. But when he does come back, there'll be other injuries that result from this sort of Achilles tendon repair, and that it actually may get retorn, or maybe the other side. That can happen typically 36 months after he comes back with his age group. So, the deal that he signs, it's kind of after 3 years, it's a little bit a higher risk in terms of him not being on the court and paying him all that money. But in the first 3 years, that Achilles tendon, he should be able to do decently with, that within the first 3 years. But as you get older and older and older, that's where. So you've got like a 10-year deal. Maybe the second half of that deal may be very, very risky in terms of him not being on the court very much.
So the team would kind of want like that opt-out after 3 years, like the players usually get.
Yeah.
The franchise
They're going
is
a
like,
team option after 5 years. And I'm
it's something like that, yeah.
Hey, Doctor, let's go to football real quick here. One of the players we're going to talk about is somebody that's not participating in the Super Bowl this week. And it's a guy that we've talked about in the past, and you've kind of scared me off him for 2018 currently. And that's Carson Wentz, because of the multiple injuries that he did suffer. And if you could just give the diagnosis again and what you see for him going into 2018.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry I was so pessimistic before.
It's good to know.
But ACL and LCL actually, if he just did, he's saying that that's all he tore. However, the IT band is also part of that complex on the lateral side. It's also called the lateral collateral ligament complex. And so it's part of that complex. So that is likely injured, even though he's saying that it's just the LCL. And if he does have a damaged meniscus, all these little additional things will, delay his recovery. For a straight up ACL, LCL repair, we're saying it's 5 to 6 months of recovery. So that, that puts him kind of, right at July, August, and kind of, getting rehabbed possibly for the first game of the season. However, he has it partially torn that we think an IT band, and that's going to take longer. So from a longevity standpoint, sort of recovering from this injury, we're looking September, October, as opposed to July, August.
And that could create a quarterback controversy in Philadelphia, because if they win Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and then they're 4-2, and Carson Wentz is healthy, that's an interesting situation right there. Doc, Rob Gronkowski, I think he's going to play on Sunday. What do you think?
I think he's going to play on Sunday. Again, what I've always said is the Patriots are lucky here that they got 2 weeks, so he'll likely clear after 2 weeks. But this is a pretty significant concussion that he sustained, and he's a very aggressive player. He doesn't hold back. He'll go head first into anything. He'll block. He'll do all that stuff. If he has a head injury in this Super Bowl, I'm not saying that he's risking his career like completely, but there's a percentage chance that he will do that if he has another head injury. Coming back for this type of concussion where there's reports where he may have lost a little bit of consciousness versus now, the speculation, this is not a simple mild concussion. Even though he's practiced a little bit on Saturday and Sunday, he is still not clear. They still think he'll be cleared. If he was a mild concussion, he would have cleared immediately. This is a one step above a mild concussion, and that's why if he'll play in this game. So the answer to the question, Corey, is yes. However, what is he risking by playing in this game? And he's risking the fact that he could have, if he gets another hit like that, he could have some long-term neurological complications after he plays football.
Hey, that rookie running back for the Texans, Deonta Foreman, he suffered what's considered like a devastating injury. Did he have multiple injuries to his leg, or am I speaking here?
Well, his main injury was the completely torn Achilles tendon, and this is we kind of talked about this with DeMarcus Cousins, but when you do tear an Achilles tendon, you do have a couple of other injuries around it that usually happen. Usually the gastroc muscle and the soleus muscles, like sort of the calf muscles, get partially torn, or they sort of have contusions. Sometimes you get a bone contusion or a fracture, associated with the calcaneus or the tibia or the fibula, sort of at the lower leg. So, I'm not surprised if there are surrounding injuries which will make his recovery longer. But at the end of the day, those things will heal long before the Achilles tendon. And, so these things can take a long time to heal, possibly, 8 to 12 months.
Doc, a player for the New England Patriots who will not be on the field on Sunday is Julian Edelman. He tore his ACL early in the year. Matter of fact, he tore his ACL, I believe it was in August, in a preseason game. How is Julian Edelman looking for OTAs and training camp?
It's a I don't want to simplify an ACL tear, but from all intents and purposes of what we're seeing and what we're gathering, it's a simple ACL tear. The surgery went well. He's rehabbing, he's recovering. His complete recovery right now is set to come back on March, right around the beginning of March. So it'll be after the Super Bowl, and so OTAs and all of that, he should be good to go for unless he has a setback.
Doc, let's switch to baseball. And I think Corey just threw this one on for me. But, David Wright, Mr. Met, is there really any hope at this point?
Yeah. Do we have a 20-minute show dedicated to David Wright?
No, we need a David Wright special.
I feel really, really bad for this guy. He's a good dude, and he's been suffering quite considerably. He had a grade 4 rotator cuff repair, and even before that, he had decompression in the spine because of his disc herniation was causing so many problems neurologically. A laminotomy is where you remove the back part of the spine at that level so that you create space so nothing hits up against the, he had that spinal stenosis, so you have to open up that canal. Having a surgery like that and coming back from it and having the same power is almost a near impossibility. I know he wants to play, but he had this type of surgery, September. The shoulder surgery was in September, grade 4 rotator cuff, and the back surgery was in October. These are likely 6, 7, 8 months of recovery time, not 3 months of recovery time or 4 months of recovery time. So if anything at all, you'll see him sometime near the All-Star break.
Doc, should David Wright retire?
It's hard to tell a 34-year-old who loves the game of baseball that to retire, but these are retirable type of injuries. The last thing you want him to do is to suffer another lower back injury that could sort of jeopardize, just life in general in terms of his ability to to move and, all that stuff. So, I think that he has to consider that strongly at this point, in his career with all of these devastating type of injuries that he's suffered. Because I also believe he's had multiple wrist injuries, wrist fractures. He's had, it's not just the back and the rotator cuff. I mean, I think there's about 12 to 13 types of injuries over the last 4 years.
All right, there you go, InsideInjuries.com, the Inside Injuries app available for download in the App Store, Google Play Store. That's my man, Dr. A. Dr. A, thanks a lot, buddy. Talk to you later on in the week on RotoExperts.
Absolutely, guys. Have a good day.
All right, there's Dr. A. Dr. A has run. He has surgery to do this morning. We don't know who the surgery is on, but we will make sure that
I'm just glad it's not me. I mean, if I was getting surgery, I would want Dr. A, but I'm glad I'm not getting surgery.
Exactly. There you go right there. So we bring the All-In Kid back when we come back. Jamon Bushrod, offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins, to join the program. Got some information to get into about that. It's Fantasy Frenzy. When I looked at David Wright thing on his status, it said 2018 with a question mark behind it. Normally not a good sign. Be right back on the Frenzy. The All-In Kid rejoins the program.